Who's the new chocolatey marshmallow in my Count Chocula cereal?
Will it be Frankenstein, the mummy, the swirl ghost, or the werewolf?
And the new chocolatey marshmallow is...
All of them?
Exactly! 4 new chocolatey marshmallows for a chocolatey fright in every bite for a limited time.
Wild!
Count Chocula cereal, a spooky part of this good breakfast. It's a monster mash!
Thank you for tuning in to A Very Suspect podcast. Here's Louis and Glenn.
Welcome back to A Very Suspect podcast, and this is part 2 of our look at the monster cereal, Count Chocula, Frankenberry, Boo Berry, and stuff. If you haven't listened to the first one, go back and listen to it. We talked about the commercials and, the history of them, and now we're going to talk about the promotional stuff. So, without further ado, let's start, and a big shout out to our patrons.
Yeah, one time actually at a Mississauga thrift store, I found a Count Chocula pillow, which I think was a promotional item. It was still sealed up in a plastic bag.
Really?
And I've never seen them for sale anywhere. I've looked online to see if there was a Frankenberry one too, and I've never been able to find one. So my guess is these were promotional items. How it showed up in a thrift is beyond me, but it was sealed in this plastic bag, and they put like $3 on it, and I was like, sold.
Wow.
It's a really cool looking pillow.
And
it's purple.
Does it have the copyright, the C on it? Yeah. It's a licensed. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's got General Mills logo all over it. It's got a date for it for General Mills, but it seems to be like something that must have been a promotional item. I don't know if it was ever made available for purchase. But it's kind of neat. So I got that, and so many different things.
Man.
T-shirts, little figurines, all sorts of things over the years. There's been so much, marketing and the merchandising that went on with the monster cereals over the last 50 years is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of things that are out there is just insane. The more I look, the more I find, and it's just like, oh my God, there's just been so much stuff.
Yeah.
Not surprising. I mean, if you want to collect this, any sort of tie-in merchandise to the monster cereals, you could end up with a house full of things related to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
When you consider all the items that you could send away for from the boxes, back in the 70s and 80s, just an unbelievable amount of stuff. Then there was all the stuff that actually came with the boxes, smaller little items. I mean, if you were to try to collect everything related to monster cereals merchandising, yeah, you'd spend a lot of money and have a lot of stuff.
I know, but we're going to get to that. But the last thing that I wanted to say to just complete the big changes that has happened over the years in terms of the cereal was just this year was another major change, and I'm sure that it's only this year for the 50th anniversary, and that is the Monster Mash.
I was working in my mansion late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. Frankenberry from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash.
Yeah.
Cereal, which is all of the cereals put into one box, and a mashup of all of the monster cereals.
Yeah, although the Count Chocula element of it is really not such an issue. Yeah, it
would probably be overpowering, and it doesn't, like, so many of them are like berry flavored.
Yeah,
right?
It's
fruit flavored.
Called a berry flavored cereal, the Monster Mash.
Right.
So I mean, they really just focus on the main cereal is Boo Berry and Frankenberry, and then the marshmallows incorporate the other cereals. Yeah, that's how that kind of works.
That's true. And we have boxes, and we're going to be trying them very soon.
I already have.
Oh, did you open that?
Well, no. What happened was, actually, it finally showed up in a Mississauga supermarket.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I couldn't find it for the longest time, and then there it was.
Wow.
So yeah, I have a couple of boxes, and I've already cracked one open. I figure I'm going to keep one of the Canadian boxes intact, and then the U.S. one, which is way better artwork than the Canadian one.
Right. Okay.
Have you tried the cereal yet?
No, I'm going to try it tomorrow. Yeah.
I liked it. It very much is that. It really just feels like you're eating a big bowl of Frankenberry and then Blueberry. So 50-50. Throw it all in there, and that's what you got.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice. I liked it. I definitely, it's cool. I don't know if they'll keep doing it. Maybe this is just meant to be for the 50th anniversary year, and they'll never do it again, and they'll just go back to the individual ones. Mm-hmm. But if that's the case, then it's cool. You know, we are lucky to be around in 2021 for the arrival of Monster Mash, which may never happen again.
That's true.
50 years as Monster cereal nerds.
I know.
And we get rewarded with this really cool box art for the U.S. version of Monster Mash, which luckily I was able to order through Amazon and get fulfilled by an American seller and sent up here, because you are not going to find that box in, Ontario supermarkets.
No, you won't. You'll find the Canadian ones if you're lucky.
Canadian one. And, the cover's fine for that. It's a lot like the artwork you see on the Monster Zero boxes over the last 20 years. But when you look at the U.S. Monster Mash one, both the front and back cover, it's just like, wow, that's what you want to see. That's a throwback to 1971.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the idea of them as a monster band, it's perfect. It also harkens back to that time period where cartoons utilized people as bands. They could be crime fighters, but they have a band.
Yeah, that's true.
Charlie Chan and the Chan Clan. Well, sure, we solved mysteries, but we also have a rock and roll band. That was just the way it was. And so, yeah, why not the Monsters as a band as well? It's perfect.
The Monster Mash didn't just capture the Monster zeitgeist. It became the song of a generation. Why do people always forget I'm also immortal?
And when you look at the cover art, Yummy Mummy's just playing a tambourine. He's basically the example of the Partridge Family. Yeah, where the youngest daughter, right? What was her name again?
I can't remember, but just give her a tambourine and let her.
Yeah, just give her a tambourine. That's all she. So Yummy Mummy, they didn't have much faith in him. So he's the tambourine guy. Fruit
is the drummer.
He's raging on the drums.
Yep.
Blueberry and Frankenberry, kind of nondescript. I'm not really sure who's playing what there, because if you look at both their instruments, there's 4 tuning pegs on each, it seems. So 2 bass players?
Maybe.
I don't think that was the intention there. I think one of them is meant to be playing bass, and Count Chocula is on the keyboards.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of neat. Like a little Farfisa organ kind of thing. Again, fitting into the whole sort of sound of that time period too, with the garage and the bubblegum music and the Farfisa organ kind of thing. And that's the front cover, and the back cover is the same sort of image of them playing, but this time they're in a graveyard, and it incorporates. They did the MASH, the Monster Mash. The world's most monster group is back together for a limited edition cereal and to record their own version of the greatest monster anthem of all time, which then ties into a new 4.5-minute video they made, which you've seen as well, right?
I have, yeah. It's a mock documentary of them talking about their past and they're getting together.
Yeah, reforming to get the band back together and to re-record the Monster Mash, which they do. And, the song, they do it faithfully. The song is obviously what you'd expect it to be.
Yeah.
But the video itself is pretty funny, just how they have actors playing, executives, or people who are working for them. And
yeah.
And then there's Travis Barker or Blink-182 as a fan.
Yeah.
Thing he was there for the last gig that they did when everything fell apart. And it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's really well done, actually.
And the back of the box is cool, how it's got Graveyard Smash written on the bass drum on the back, and there's these tombstones that have for sayings on like Ivana Rock and one more song. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Signs to cemetery in the back, and yeah, they did a really, really good job on this box. This is a work of art. I would say that it's really cool. Yeah, very, very neat. The colors on it too are so retro and everything too, very colorful, and they did a great job. The art style harkens back to the original style of the characters, not the more modernized computer graphic style that a lot of the artwork has taken over the last 20 years. This is this old school, comic book, TV commercial, box cover art that they had in the 70s. It's really, really neat.
Yeah.
They did a great job. So yeah, that's the Monster Mash, and that's what we got this year. So everyone out there listening to this is interested should get on it now, because probably come November and beyond, it might be tougher to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get now.
Yeah, and I just wonder then, post-November, for people who want the U.S. box, is it going to get more and more expensive online? Or are people going to start asking crazier money for it as they start getting lesser and lesser supplies available to get out to people?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it could start getting stupidly expensive. Amazon wasn't so bad. It was like 2 boxes for $30 all in, $29.99. So, $15 ain't cheap for a box of cereal, but no one who's buying this is buying this because it's just a box of cereal to them.
Very true.
They're buying this because look at the artwork on it. I mean, it's just something you want to own. It's such a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
And I'll be getting yours to you soon.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's very, very neat. They did a great job.
So, what would you like to talk about now? The commercials or the premiums or the ancillary kind of merchandise?
All the above. But yeah, we can start with the premiums, because the premiums I find really interesting over the years, that different types of things that they created. I mean, like I was saying earlier, they created so much merchandise.
Oh, so much stuff.
So yeah, it's like I made a list of all the different things that I've seen on commercials or in images of box cover art.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and obviously not everything that was available through the cereal boxes was related to Monster cereals, but a lot of it was. Like, for instance, I'm looking at one image now where you could actually send in 3 box tops, UPC type code type things, and get 4-ounce not boxes, but little cans of like Play-Doh. So,
oh yeah, I saw that.
I mean, different things all the time. It wasn't always Monster related, and that stuff is cool. The fact that you can get cards for Star Trek and Star Wars and things like that.
Yeah.
That's all neat. But
I have some of the Star Wars ones.
Oh yeah, that's right. You were saying that, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's cool and everything. But really, it's the stuff that is the Monster themed giveaways and everything that I think are more interesting, or even the things you had to send away for.
Which was a lot of different stuff. I mean, we can talk about the stuff that you got in the boxes first.
Yeah.
Just list off some things and.
Yeah, often that was just tinier little things that you would expect to get. Like, there was Monster crayons.
Monster crayons,
There was these flicker rings, they were called, that they put out in 72 that had different characters on them. And
I think they were called action rings, weren't they?
Maybe. Something I saw was called Flicker. It actually said Flicker rings.
No, maybe two different rings or something. There were the eraser tops, which were really cool. I would have loved to have that.
There's these things called glowing light switch reminders.
Oh yeah, I like that idea a lot.
There were so many different things. They had Monster toothbrush holders, secret compartment rings. The little hatch on them, and they would have the characters' faces on them.
I wonder if that was the action rings.
Maybe. Yeah. They were secret compartment rings.
Okay.
And then there was pop rockets. They did for Frankenberry. That was in the first year. In 71, they were doing these little pop rockets. 72, I think, was, maybe 73 was the pencil top erasers. And of course they had little cars and little airplanes. It was like 74, 75, they were doing cars and airplanes. 75, they did glow in the dark stickers that came away as giveaways.
The airplanes are really cool because they were meant to attach to your bike.
Yeah.
And so you attach them to the handles, and the propeller would rotate as you rode your bike, which would have been amazing.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, there was a boo hooter. Did you see that?
No, I don't think I saw that.
It's like a little whistle that I guess made a scary sound or something like that.
Interesting. I know they would sometimes give away iron-ons and scratch and sniff Frankenberries, I was reading on one point, and monster magnets. So, of course, all sorts of things like that. But so, yeah, that was more or less the kind of things that they gave away in the boxes of cereal. Mm-hmm. But they also gave you plenty of options for items that you would have to send away for, and that's where you... Well, actually, one thing I forgot to mention, though, in terms of what you could actually get with the boxes, was the records, the Flexies.
The records, yeah. The records
There were 3 Flexies created, and they were all 1979, and you would just cut them out of the back of the box. And, there was Monsters Go Disco.
The Monster Cereals, Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Booberry present The Monsters Go Disco. It's Saturday night at Monster Mansion, and our friends Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Booberry are sitting around feeling frightfully lonely. Let's join them and see if they find a cure for their Saturday Night Blues.
Another Saturday night rolls around.
Yes, Frankenberry. It's hard to believe that three wild and crazy guys like ourselves sit home alone.
Really, Chocula, I'm bored silly sitting here at Monster Mansion.
Well, maybe it's because you're a boring, silly monster.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, fellas, what are we going to do to cure our Saturday night blues?
I've got the answer, Booberry. Let's go disco.
Disco where?
Disco's here, disco's there.
No, disco dancing.
Oh, yes, I can see it now. I'm so light on my feet, I'll boogie all night.
Monsters in Outer Space.
The Monster Serials, Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Booberry present Monster Adventures in Outer Space. As the sun slowly fades over the horizon, darkness descends like madness, creeping over Monster Mansion. Let's venture inside and see what our friends Frankenberry, Booberry, and Count Chocula are up to.
Time for Betty Bye. Count Chocula, have you seen my teddy bear?
Frankenberry, you are too big for a teddy bear.
I am not, Chocula. My teddy's quite a comfort on a cold winter's night.
And a cold, bitter night this is, not fit for ghosts or goblins.
Blueberry, have you seen my teddy?
No, I have.
All right, already about that teddy. Now, let's go to sleep.
Oh, all right. Sweet dreams.
Oh, sweet dreams.
What's that strange noise? It's a flying saucer that looks like a giant pink marshmallow. It's landing. Count Chocula and Blueberry are getting on board. And now, wait for me!
Count Chocula Goes to Hollywood. Monsters Go Disco was the one I always thought was the most amusing.
Yeah.
Because they literally just try to go to a disco and, yeah.
Yeah, and go dancing.
Kind of stupid. Monsters in Outer Space was really dumb. Count Chocula Goes to Hollywood, equally stupid.
Yeah, in that one, he's brought to Hollywood, and he thinks he's going to be a big star, but he's actually brought to be a stuntman.
It's the mailman.
Good evening.
A monster. Yay!
A simple how do you do would suffice.
Look, he dropped a letter.
Aha, it's my letter from Hollywood.
Hooray for Hollywood! What does it say?
Did you win the contest?
It says, Dear Count Chocula, congratulations. You are the winner of the Monster Look-alike contest. We have enclosed 3 tickets to Hollywood for you and your friends. You will be in the famous TV Western, Haunted House on the Range.
Oh, goody. Let's start packing.
Oh, we're off to Hollywood. Hooray!
Off go the monsters to the land of palm trees.
Yeah.
For the movies, which is, I don't know, weird.
These things really don't play up the music very often. I mean, in Monsters Go Disco, there is some, like, sort of background disco music, and there's even a reference to Donna Summer as, Donna Disco or something like that, just something stupid like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of silly. And I kind of wish that what they had done, and this is something they never did, is like, why didn't they actually create songs for the characters? Like, have an associated song with the character right from the introduction of the character. That would have been really cool. Mm-hmm. Like a little jingle type of song for each character. That would have been neat, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
But, I don't know why they didn't go down that path. I guess they just thought, a lot of serial mascots might have a catchphrase, because there was a lot of that, obviously, in TV commercials. They didn't really have a catchphrase so much as it was just the feuding aspect of it was their catchphrase. Like, Count Chocula, Frankenberry. It was just the bickering back and forth almost was the catchphrase. There really was no particular catchphrase. There was no, like, they're great.
Yeah, that's like true.
That. That was maybe a missed opportunity there. Same with the song. It would have been cool if there was some theme song for each of the characters. That would have been kind of neat. They could have used that in the commercials and everything. This would have been kind of neat. And it would have been good for the records, too, if they were doing flexies and there was actual theme songs for each character. That would have been neat, but oh well, missed opportunity. Can't have everything. But definitely for the send-away items, that's where you would get the really cool things. Like, I was reading about these things called monster mitts for the bathtub.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And, I think you mentioned the bike flags already, right?
Yeah.
Because I think those were send-aways. I don't think those came with the boxes.
Oh, they really? It seemed like they were in the box, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you had to send away for those ones. They might have advertised on the front of the box, but they were the kind of thing where the premium was you had to clip off a few of the codes, send it in with $1 or whatever, and then they'd send you this thing.
Right.
And there was Fruit Brute magic puzzles. there was a thing called the Monster Bath Time Fun Set, which was bubble bath soap and washcloth. They did that in '78.
Which is amazing.
There was like beach bags and beach towels. The beach towel is really cool. It says Surf's Up on it, and it has all three of the monsters riding a wave on a surfboard.
Oh, cool.
And that was your beach towel. But, and, they did coloring books. There was one in the 70s called How to Be a Good Monster, which was a send-away item. But you know what the most impressive of all the send-away items was?
What?
Count Chocula Castle, otherwise known as Monster Mansion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Have you read about this thing?
I did.
This thing is amazing. This thing in 1976, I think it was when they might have introduced it, was $12.99 to mail away for.
Holy.
This thing was made of like heavy corrugated cardboard, and it was like 4 feet tall, and it would fit 4 kids or 2 adults, as it says in one of the ads I saw. And it had secret spy doors and the revolving windows, so the characters, you could spin these window things around, and it would have different monsters show up, or just other creatures even too, bats and things like that. And you would, I think it said with 2 batty bats, 2 silly spiders, 1 springy snake, and more. And you would get a membership card, so you could pass out these. You'd have 4 cards, 1 for yourself and 1 for 3 friends, and you were the only ones who could enter Monster Mansion, that kind of thing.
Wow.
It looks amazing when you see pictures of it all set up and kids in it and everything, too, and you're just like, wow, that would have been really cool to have. So that was kind of like, that item apparently is super scarce now, and it just never shows up anywhere,
No doubt.
Most of those things never probably survived for long, and then it's like, just gone. Who knows what people would charge if something like that showed up now.
Well, plus $12.99 at that time was pretty pricey.
Yeah.
So
that was cheap.
that there wouldn't be a whole lot of people ordering that to begin with,
No, probably wasn't a lot of takers to begin with. I know, it's nuts, but that was the one item that looks like, wow, that was the craziest thing they ever sold direct through, that kind of mail away for items.
That's amazing.
But yeah, there was just a crazy amount of merchandise that had come out at that time period. And, you'd see it in the commercials, too, where in some of the commercials, though, they might make mention of the fact that, now available with this promotional item or whatever. So, you see them with the Star Wars cards or whatever.
Right.
And sometimes you would see, like, the related monster-themed items that might come with it. I remember this one commercial had Spooky Speedster car, so it was like a car with some of them in it, just a little Hot Wheels type car. And so, there's cool things like that. I'd love to see all that stuff now. I'd love to have some of that stuff. There was even like a Halloween trick-or-treat bag they made so kids could take this bag out for Halloween and had the monsters on it and everything. So it says trick-or-treat. So that would have been really cool to have, too. This is stuff I'd love to have now.
Oh, me too. Have a little shrine for this stuff.
I know, it's ridiculous. There's so much stuff produced.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's the thing about the commercials, too. Like, the commercials are kind of neat because, in the original days, the earliest days of the commercials, it was strictly animation. But then, as the 70s moved on, they started putting some live-action mixes into it as well, where you'd actually have some real kids in the commercial, and then the monsters would show up and start arguing again about whose hero is better in front of the kids.
But speaking of live action, there was one commercial that was done in 1991 that was absolutely bizarre, and it was actually called Count Chocula Presents Mickey. And it was a live-action Count Chocula. It's a man with prosthetics. It was the only time that they did it, and he just looks really creepy. And he's telling the story about this kid, Mickey, who becomes basically his chocolate craving is so great it turns him into a big blob of, I don't know, chocolate craving goo or something like that. And it's absolutely bizarre.
Count Chocula presents Mickey.
Something happens to Mickey at daylight.
Chocolate.
The chocolate monster in him comes out for a bite.
Chocolate.
Of that double chocolatey delight.
Count Chocula.
All right. Chocolatey cereal with chocolatey marshmallow bats. Satisfies a chocolate monster in no time flat. The monstrously good part of a complete breakfast. If you crave chocolate too, Count Chocula can satisfy the chocolate monster in you.
Huh. No, I never saw that one before. No.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it either until I was doing research for this, and it is weird.
Wow. No,
yeah.
I don't remember that one. I remember in most of the commercials they'd always say that the cereal was monstrously delicious.
I do remember that, yeah.
That was like a regular catchphrase in there. And like we were mentioning earlier, too, like it was funny how over the years in the commercials, the monsters, especially when it was just, in the early days when it was just the two of them, they'd always be scared off by like children and cuckoo clock birds and cats and Halloween pumpkins and just all these ridiculous things that would just happen. You know, it was silly stuff definitely, but it was a lot of fun. Those commercials were great.
Yeah. Yeah, in 1996 they actually gave, or in 1993 they gave the Count a pet spider, a really big spider called Igor as well, who guarded his chocolate. But it was only one commercial, and that's it. And they never brought him back.
Wow. Yeah, they did some strange promos over the years. I mean, I remember one box art I saw that said it was a box of Count chocolate, and it said that the marshmallows for this particular box were in the shape of Casper and Wendy the Witch.
Oh yeah.
They tried different things. Like apparently at one point in the 80s, Frankenberry had white marshmallow ghosts.
Really?
Yeah, which I have no recollection of either. But I mean, maybe I wasn't buying a lot of it at that point in time, so I just didn't know. But they tried different things all the time, I guess, just to keep it fresh. But
yeah, I mean, the crappiest stuff is when you got nothing inside and you just had a cutout mask in the back, or you had just a full page comic, or in some cases they had like a connect the dots. And it was just part of the backing of the box, and that's it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, God.
They've continued with that kind of thing even over the last 20 years with some of the more modern boxes. Like in the back, there might be a puzzle or something like that, too. Frankly, the cutout mask would even be an improvement now. I remember those ones where they'd have each character would have a cutout mask on the back. Really piece of paper that you were cutting out and cutting holes for the eyes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's like put a string through it.
There you go. Go have some fun.
Yeah, exactly. Kids were easily amused back then. It's just like, yeah, this will do. It wouldn't work on kids nowadays, that's for sure. They wouldn't be impressed with that. But it's pretty funny. There's been so many parodies of this stuff over the years too. Like when I was just even doing some of this research online, is like seeing all the other parodies of this too. That have been created by people over the years, and there's been some really amazing interpretations of these characters by artists who are just having fun with it. Probably the craziest one I saw was a guy who did a bunch of box art in the style of Family Guy.
Oh yeah.
You see this?
No.
Quag Chocula, Stewberry, and Griffinberry. And the art, it looks amazing on the boxes for each one of those characters, as you can imagine. You know, the mixture of those characters with the monster characters, it's pretty amazing. And there's just so much of that. There was a local artist who I bought a print of off of the Fan Expo one year that is a really, really cool image of the 5 monster serial characters, but also as interpreted as the Universal monsters themselves. And so it's really nice. You know, it doesn't actually say Frankenberry or Count Chocula. It says Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, the Mummy, and the Invisible Man. So Booberry is interpreted as the Invisible Man.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks really, really good. The Mummy, of course, is shown as the way the Mummy looked in the Universal movie, but of course he's wrapped in the bandages that are his colors of the pink and yellow and everything. It looks great. Frankenstein has all the details of Frankenstein, except of course he's got the clock on the head and everything that Frankenberry had. And the Frankenstein logo is done to look like a strawberry, and so there's a little strawberry beside it.
Oh my
the
God.
Wolfman's wearing the Wolfman. He's wearing Fruit Roots colors, you know, on his like overalls. And same with the Dracula. It looks exactly like Count Chocula, and the title for the print is "Source of 5 Essential Nutrients."
Oh man,
the
that's
artist
amazing.
was Jason Edmondson was the artist.
Oh yeah, he's well known as a monster artist for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's gone on to do other things after that. Like I saw a cover of Mad Magazine, and one of the last incarnations before it ended, he had done a cover for them even too. So kind of neat. But when I saw that print one that day at Fan Expo, I was like, oh God, I got to have this. And I mean, they're numbered out of 100. It was like 98 out of 100, and it was like $50. But I was like, I got to have this. I'll pay the $50 for it. I got it framed. It's on my wall. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, there's been so many artists. I saw another guy online who calls himself Kel G.E., and he created a series of EC-style comic book covers, and it was called like Tales from the Cereal. And each of the 5 covers has one of each of the monster serial monsters on the front cover. And you know how EC Comics always had the sidebar with the 3 circles and the different characters in it that might appear in that issue?
Yep.
Well, he does the same thing, but he does it with other cereal mascots and sort of perverts it into a monster kind of thing. So, like, for instance, one said on it, also, you know, it would say featuring Suffering Snap, Cackling Crackle, and Pestilent Pop. And so all these different covers he created would have different cereal mascots, but made into a sort of a horror style to go along with it. It was really, really cool stuff. And it was just a series of 5, like I said, illustrated covers that he had done, and they looked amazing. So there's just so much stuff like that out there when it comes to the monster cereals. There's just, endless amounts. I was telling you about a zine that came out in the 90s that I was really into trying to locate, and I never managed to get a hold of, but I recently discovered that it was online as PDF files, all 15 of their issues. It was called Freaky Magnet, and Freaky Magnet would focus on anything cereal related, especially all the merchandising and things that came with it, but just in general, box cover art and just cereal culture, you could say. And and it was a pretty cool mag for its time. I think it ran from between 93 and 97, and was pretty neat. But they did 3 issues that had a lot of focus on the monster cereals, and it's pretty cool stuff. Wow. Definitely. So, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are into cereal culture and cereal mascots and giveaways with cereal and just the whole merchandising aspect of cereal.
As are we.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing of its own, obviously, is like just the marketing. Some people think that this is something that only children are supposed to be into, but frankly, the people who probably care about this the most are not children at this point in time, that's for sure.
No,
I don't think children give a damn about cereal mascots. You know, I mean, hell, there's even COVID masks.
Yeah. Oh, for
I saw a lot of, yeah. People made them for Count Chocula and Frankenberry.
Wow.
Found those online too. So I mean, yeah, you could walk around with Frankenberry on your face to protect you from COVID.
Amazing. I mean, we could even go into all of the toys and stuff that have come out, but that would be another episode.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Funko obviously has done so much. They started with the bobbleheads, and then they went into those pop figures, what they call Funko Pop ad icons.
Yeah.
They did that, and I mean, but so many other companies have done things. I've seen recent tiki mugs show up for all the characters that are really, really nicely done.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much. I once had this Funko Frankenberry that came with he was in a hot rod. It was like a real Big Daddy Roth style vehicle. And I sold that thing off because it was out of print, and I figured I'd get a little more money for it than I paid for it, which I did. But it was pretty cool. I mean, there's just so much stuff.
Yeah.
There was one guy named Christopher Levi Gray who created these hybrid action figures. And they mixed the monster cereals with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Really?
And yeah, the boxes look amazing and everything. He was selling them, I think, through maybe his own website or something. And I doubt they're available any longer. But even though this wasn't that long ago, and they went under the toy line genetically modified organisms.
Wow.
And so, yeah, when you look at them, they're cool. You can see how they have the basic details, let's say, of Frankenberry, but then the body's constructed to look like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's really cool.
That's amazing.
And then recently, that company called Jada Toys made these 6-inch figures, scale figures of Frankenberry and Count Chocula that are due out now, like either October or November of this year, and they look amazing. I mean, there's so much. General Mills did a monster puzzle recently, a 500-piece puzzle.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And there's a game called Monster Crunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much stuff. Of course, there's been Halloween costumes. I think in the last 10 years, I've kind of gone into some Halloween stores and seen like a Frankenberry costume. You know, those things are like $80 or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's endless what you can do with these characters, you know?
Oh, for sure. Sure. And what people have done. People have just, you know, every time you turn around every year, there's something new coming out related to that. There was a CD even that came out in the early 2000s called Spooky Sounds from Count Chocula Castle. And it was all dialogue with some like incidental music. And it was the people who were doing the voices of the characters in the commercials from that era. And it was just like a promotional type CD. It was really difficult to get, but, you know, it's out there for people who are interested in that kind of thing.
Welcome to my laboratory. Please step in with me.
As you cautiously enter the room, you notice something peculiar all covered on a table in the back of the room. Your curiosity has gotten the best of you once again as you slowly tiptoe towards the ominous shape shrouded in mystery. It's more than the Count can bear, and he starts to tremble.
Stop! I beg you!
Bravely, you continue your curious journey, and soon enough, find yourself ready to pull the sheet away. On the count of 3, your shaking hand nervously gives it a quick tug. 1, 2, 3!
Well, we are, because we even have Count Frankenberry as part of our logo. Our image.
Really?
Yeah. It's his face kind of sticking out there, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's just so much stuff related to the monster cereals.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've always loved them, and I still enjoy the taste of them. No question. It's good stuff.
So,
but then again, I've always liked junk cereals. I've never stopped with the junk cereals. So
yeah, I love junk cereal.
May not be good for you, but whatever.
Yeah, it even
Anything
transforms
in life is good for you.
No, it even transforms the milk that's left over into a little dessert.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I always. I mean, okay, Count Chocula is great. You drink the chocolate milk at the end, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think I've always preferred the Frankenberry in that sense, because when you finish up the cereal, there's that nice pink milk to drink, and you're like, yes.
Yum.
Yeah, it's good stuff, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So
maybe some people out there disagree, but hey,
no one disagrees.
You don't think so?
No.
There's a lot of health nuts out there that think that grown men should not be eating junk cereals like this.
Not anybody I want to know.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, it's usually people you don't want to know who tell you the shit.
Yeah.
Well.
So,
it's
I guess
good stuff, though.
I guess that's pretty much our covering of it, unless we wanted to go into everything, but you just can't.
No.
There's just so much merchandise.
It's endless. It's endless merchandise, and I'm sure there'll continue to be more as long as General Mills keeps putting the cereal out. And hopefully they will keep doing it.
Long live the monster cereal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't really care once I'm dead, but till then, keep the damn monster cereal coming. Who knows how long I got? Another 5 years, another 10 years, another 20 years, whatever the case. I want the damn cereal to keep coming out in that time period. I need some pleasures in life, goddammit.
Well, that's our look into the monster cereal, I guess.
I guess that's all we got.
Well, welcome back.
Are you saying that to me?
To you, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
I thought you were talking to our potential listener, if there is any.
Oh, there is. We're doing all right.
Yeah, as soon as they see this one's on monster cereals, they'll be like, "Why do I want to listen to that garbage for?"
No.
Let's see if this is the one that has the least amount of listeners.
No.
I'd be curious. I'd be curious if that's the case. People would be like, "I don't care about these guys talking about cereal."
I think a lot of people will.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
So, shall we say see ya?
Might as well.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
I don't think so.
No,
I think we've kind of covered everything we need to cover about this topic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to go on for 3 hours about this. This isn't Alice Cooper.
No. So
we went way too long.
We went way longer on this one than I thought too.
Oh, okay.
It's like an hour and 10 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, I guess that is long.
Yeah,
I guess that is too long. I didn't know it was that long. It never seems that long when you're doing these things.
No, it doesn't. But I guess I'll just, finish off. Is that cool? Okay. So, I guess that is our look at a perennial favorite monster cereal as sweetie goodness and monsters and what could be any better. And we can celebrate with a nice big bowl of Monster Mash.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to do, and that's what everyone who's listening should do too. And
get up to your supermarkets and try to find it. It may not be easy, but it's worth the effort.
Well, thanks for listening, and tune in soon for another episode of...
And as the Fruit Brute would say, fruit!
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I was working in my mansion late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. Frankenberry from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. Frankenberry, ladies and gentlemen. From my tower in the mansion east, the breakfast nook where Count Chocula feasts, Blueberry came from his humble abode to get a jolt from my electrode. They did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They did the monster mash.
The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Count Chocula and his spooky +1. The steam was rocking all with digging the town. On drums back by
Thank you for listening to A Very Suspect Podcast. Music is written and performed by Ethan Flint. Check out his social media. Links are in the show notes. A Very Suspect Podcast is copyright Suspect Video, all rights reserved. All audio clips are used for review purposes only. See you again soon. Bye!